What's up, y'all? Just doing a quick download for the week. It is Friday, 5:06. This is the 20th of June, and this is my second week of a dropped protocol. So before I was on 6 days at 2,250 calories, 1 day at 3,000, and now we switched it to 6 days kind of fluctuating between 2050 and 1950. So let's just say 2,000 calories a day, and 1 day still at 3,000 for the refeed. And I'm at my low weigh in for the week is 152.2. Today I weighed in at 152.4. My weight is kind of a very inconsistent pattern. It kind of jumps out all over the place. My guess is it has to do with some inflammation, some cortisol, probably some kind of sleep fluctuations, uh, also food mass that plays a part in it, water, of course. So just different things that kind of impact the weight, which is why I think it's important for people to not rely just on that one variable, because if you're like me, it would drive yourself absolutely insane if you just saw these random spikes like I have. Like some days I'll weigh in um, 2 or 3 pounds heavier and really not change anything outside of um, perhaps my sleep. So again, I couldn't tell you. I'm trying to figure out what that is, but that's how that's been going. Training has been going pretty well. It's not um, it's not progressing like I had been and kind of beating the logbook every time, but I've definitely been maintaining. I beat it occasionally here and there, but I'm just happy with keeping it the same. I have had a couple of good sessions on upper, which is nice, and my lower sessions have been uh, pretty good. I'm incorporating a little bit heavier weights than I had been, and probably will be switching around a few exercises pretty soon here. But yeah, oops, sorry about that, y'all. Trying this tripod thing while I'm laying down because it's been a long week. Let's see what else to update. Mental state. Okay, so this is something that I think is worth talking about just in general. I don't track body fat. I know that's a big obsession with a lot of people. They want to know what body fat you're at, or like what they're at, or whatever it is, and have an idea. I I couldn't tell you. I can probably, I would say somewhere between 10 and 12%. If you want to see, I can do a quick physique check in real quick with you. So this is where I'm at as far as fat, holding fat side. All right, that's where I'm at here. As far as legs go, you'll see a little bit of separation, right? Some feathering, I could think, on this quad, but and then as far as like skin on my arms, it's getting thinner, but not anything to really kind of get overly hyped about, in my opinion, which is why we're doing this next push. Because even at 152, I'd say my weight that I will probably need to hit is somewhere about 10 pounds less than what I'm at. If you do the math, right? If I'm at 10% or more or less, that's where I think I'm at, then that would be, most of the time single digits is obviously where you want to be for show ready. Some people look show ready at 8%, 7%, and this is why I don't put a whole lot of importance on it. But I do know that I have weighed in before at the low 140s, and then of course after carbing up and drinking some water to go on stage, I'm kind of in the mid 140s, like 146, 147. So I imagine I'm going to be there in that range as well. I am leaner than I ever have been at this body weight. So that's a good sign. So that means that I'm still probably going to get down to that weight, but I'll look a lot more conditioned. So that's the thing I think with most natural bodybuilders is that you're never really going, once you're in the game for, you know, 5, 10 years. I've been doing this 16 years. It's my sixth season. So again, haven't competed that many times, but I've dieted enough times to where I'm gonna be in that range. The first time I competed, I think I got down to 128, 130, I think. And then on stage, I was like 131 or 132. And so I competed right after that year, which was a mistake, but a good experience. So I did a back to back on my very first season, 12 months into lifting. And that's how, like I said, it wasn't a good call, but everything's been learning so far. And I was around the same, I think, like low 130s. Then I took I think 4 or 5 years off, competed again. And that's when I was kind of in those low 140s. And then kind of been fluctuating low 140s, mid 140s ever since. And each time I'm coming in a little bit more conditioned. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how I wind up this year. Uh, it's been going well. Uh, Definitely trying to hold uh, my calories a little bit later in the day. And I'm jumping around a little bit. I was talking about meals earlier, but I'm bringing it up right now because I feel like I was talking about mental side of it. The mental side of this game is why I really keep coming back to it. So there was a post the other, I guess it might have been last night or maybe this morning, about people that compete naturally only gaining a couple of pounds, if not ounces, later on in the career. Why would they ever do it? Well, it's not just about the muscle if you're doing natural bodybuilding for the lifetime. And I think most natural competitors that are doing it for decades realize that it's about the self-development. Knowing what I know about gaining muscle is you're going to always have the ability to put on muscle. Now, whether or not that's a couple of ounces or whatever throughout your lifetime, it's an asymptote, and an asymptote means that it's it's a a kind of like diminishing returns. So think of a line that is curved, and as it's going up, it spikes up really early in your lifting career, maybe the first 3 years, and then it starts slowing down and getting very, very close to the edge of the limit, okay? And what would be called zero. So as you approach zero, you are having to work exponentially. Obviously, we don't work in exponents, but the amount of effort you're having to input is much more than the original amount of effort to get you from that first 5, 10, 15 pounds of whatever muscle you gained. And so you might have to put in twice as much work. You might have to put in two and a half, 3 times, 4 times as much work. And work doesn't always necessarily mean how much weight's being lifted. The work also translates to better nutrition, better sleep, better lifting technique, and more tracking and dialing in and all of these little things that count towards those gains. And so some people just eventually just say, you know what, this is too much to get those ounces, and I get it, right? But to me, each time I dig back in and I try and get close to that zero, it I wind up a better person on the other side of it because I learn how to control certain things a little bit better. So, for instance, I learn how to be more present, and especially over the last 3 preps that I've done. So, I did in 2021, 2020, 24, and then I'm now doing 25. From my 2017 prep to my 2021, I made an effort to be well, not to be less irritable because I can't control that. I'm going to be irritable no matter what. But I made an effort to control my irritability expression. And so I've got a wife, I've got family, I've got friends. They don't deserve to endure my irritation just because I'm choosing to do something personally that is not their fault. And so working on that, working on being more present with the diet, working on being more present with understanding what hunger is, and reframing everything. So I have got a sales background and sales and marketing, and that's the whole conversation of sales, right? So I'm selling myself on the fact of, hey, you're not hungry, you're in a deficit. This is reinforcing the fact that you are making progress, that you are doing something that you want to do, and that this just indicates that you're getting there and doing it better. And so using some of that psychology on myself has been very powerful. And I'm not the originator of these ideas, right? You've got my coach is great. Jeff Albert, shout out coach, the Godfather, 3DMJ, 3DMJ team, super awesome. I haven't talked enough about them. And I know I'm rambling at this point, but if you're watching and expecting something else, I'm sorry, but this is how it's going to be, at least for now, until I figure out my style and voice and everything. It's going to probably be long rambles like this and just hopping around different topics because it's a vlog and I'm just trying to keep it as real as possible. Stream of consciousness is my preferred way to communicate because um, I think that it's something that doesn't require a lot of preparation, which means that I'm more willing to do it as far as editing and things like that. And then it's also just a way to be genuine because as my thoughts come up, I'm just going to kind of talk about them and I'll try and keep a storyline, try and kind of keep some cohesiveness. But um, yeah, that's another thing that kind of happens with prep is that on lower calories, you're just not mentally as sharp. And certainly at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I've been up since, yeah, since about 5. So I've been up for 12 hours. And normally I had been getting up around 3:30. I slept a little bit longer. Um, Sleep disruptions, right? That's another byproduct of dieting. So total jump right now. Do you want to get as shredded as you think you want to be? I don't know. I can tell you that getting the six pack to get there is, you might have heard, harder than it is to maintain. So, where I'm at in my leanness level right now, I think most people would be satisfied to be on the beach and whatnot. And this is where I think a lot of people dieting down would be saying, okay, cool. I got down to where I wanted to be. I'm, got my abs showing, got decent muscle separation and all of those things. Let's just maintain. And so this is why the protocol switched, is because you can't do that as a competitor. You can't take off the brakes. You got to keep pushing and try and get to that next level. So, hoping to get there. And part of it is dealing with the side effects because the side effects have been poorer sleep and much more emphasis on keeping that routine. So, before, right, you can get away with kind of deviating from that routine. As you get leaner, you're going to have to dial in your sleep a little bit better. And because that turns into recovery, and you want to maintain muscle and you want to be able to perform well in the gym in order to maintain that muscle. So, getting in your meals consistently and so that you have enough time to rest and digest and not disturb your sleep is another aspect of it. Stopping drinking water at a certain time so that you're not getting up in order to pee is another aspect of it. So these little things that I don't know if everyone considers when they're wanting to get ultimate shredded. And so the Instagram reels, the Instagram stories, whatever, YouTube, all of that, it doesn't give you the full picture because what you see that looks good on Instagram for competitors and physique athletes is typically not what feels good for the most part, and it's it's not always the truth. So a lot of the stuff is edited, and so I'm probably going to be putting out some real shots. Not probably, I will be putting out some real shots of different body fat and different lighting because I can look super shredded with this down angled or side angled light. You know, the infamous photos of being, you know, next to a window is going to make you look way more shredded, or these gym lights. That's why people always look super cut in the gym, is because most of the gyms have this great down lighting. It gives you a you know, nice beneficial shadows. Stage lights are not, stage lights don't do that. Stage lights show everything. And so that's what I'll show the difference of eventually, for you guys to see. So my point is, people see that and they're like, that's what I want to look like. It's like, yeah, that's what you may want to look like, but do you want to go through the stuff to get there? Mm, I don't know. Because personally, I'd rather be closer to probably 15 to 20% body fat, and having this like puffy 4 pack is just fine by me. I'm a little bit lucky in the regard that I hold most of my fat in my glutes and hamstrings and legs in general. So my upper body gets a little bit more shredded, which is why if you looked at me torso up, you might think, oh man, you're single digits. Nope, definitely not single digits. I can tell you that right now. I know for a fact I'm nowhere near single digits. Um, but I'm a little bit fortunate in that regard. So I think I've rambled enough on this one. I think I might title this vlog 3.5 because it's not quite the end of the week. I'm going to have my refeed and go through Sunday. So maybe we'll do vlog 4.0, and I'm just going to post this. No edits, raw, uncut. Hopefully you get some value out of this if you do like it. And I understand that this is not YouTube's preferred landscape mode, it's portrait. All right, sorry about that, guys, but I want to try something different. Let me know your thoughts, comments, if you like this. If you want to see certain content, if you have questions, drop them down below. I will respond. Uh, Again, I'd love a little bit of like. I got to ask for it, right? Got to self promote a little bit. And subscribers are always nice too. I'll see you next time. Thanks.